Welcome back to the Wolf Pit. Today, in the next episode of the What Are We Eating series, we're trying 3 different brands of canned beef stew. Dinty Moore Beef Stew, which probably almost everyone has had at one point in their life. I know I have, but it's been so long ago, I don't know how I liked it or if I did like it. But I do know my brother actually eats it often and loves the stuff. I have to remember to keep that in mind the next time he tells me he likes my cooking. Along with the Dinty Moore, we're also trying Food Lion's generic beef stew and Southgate beef stew that I found at the dollar store. Let's look at the can of Dinty Moore first. The nutritional values are fairly typical of a meal for one. The can says 2.5 servings, but let's be real, most people will eat the whole can. So 500 calories is about right. The fats and cholesterol aren't dangerously high, but then we get to the dreaded sodium. At 990 milligrams per serving, that's over 100% of your daily salt intake. The ingredients list isn't too long, but the one ingredient that caught my attention was textured vegetable protein. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound good. The front of the can said no preservatives, but what do you call 990 milligrams of sodium per serving? That's why it lasts until February of 2019. I do have to give kudos to Dinty Moore for the easy open lid, or is that simply a trigger for high blood pressure? Now we move on to the Food Lion beef stew, and the nutritional values are basically the same as Dinty Moore. And I also see that strange, but familiar, textured vegetable protein in the list of ingredients. And it too also has a several year shelf life. And now we move on to the Southgate beef stew, which I found at the dollar store. One look at the nutritional label speaks volumes about dollar store food, and this is not meant to offend anyone, and please don't give me the spiel that some people can only afford food from the dollar store, which in my budget series I'm proving isn't true. And as a matter of fact, all 3 of these beef stews cost within 10 cents of each other. And that's not saying that Dinty Moore or Food Lion beef stews are healthier choices, they are simply the better of the evils. The first 2 ingredients in the other 2 beef stews were beef stock and beef. In this one, it's water. And then of course, there's that strange textured vegetable protein again. Then along with a whopping 3,360 milligrams of sodium per can comes a longer shelf life. Go figure. Here's what you see when you open up the Dinty Moore, and it actually doesn't look too bad to be honest. And it looks very hearty. Big pieces of carrots, big pieces of potato, and something that looks like meat, which is definitely not stew meat. And here's the Food Lion beef stew when you open the can, and it definitely does not look as appealing as the Dinty Moore. The pieces of meat look just like they did in the Dinty Moore, same shape and texture, but the vegetables are much smaller and the gravy doesn't look nearly as appealing. And here's the Southgate beef stew, and it looks absolutely horrid. There seems to be very little meat in this one, and the pieces are extremely little, and the texture is much different than the other 2 beef stews. This one did not look good whatsoever, but then I got to the bottom of the can. With the very little bit of meat that was in this one, I was surprised to find so much congealed fat at the bottom of the can. The Dinty Moore and the Food Lion brands didn't look nearly as bad. I put all 3 cans in a bowl, put them in the microwave for 2.5 minutes each, and here's what we have. This is the Southgate, this is the Food Lion, and the Dinty Moore. Let's start off by tasting the one that was most appealing to my eye, the Dinty Moore. I tried a piece of the meat first. The taste was very bland, but I think I found out where they put that textured vegetable protein. They mix it with the meat, because the meat was like a sponge. And then I tried a potato and a carrot, and they weren't horrible, but they weren't great. Kind of what you would expect out of a can. And then I tried a bite with everything. A potato, carrot, meat, and the gravy. And I swear to you, if I was tasting this blindfolded, I would tell you 10 times out of 10 that it was clam chowder. It tasted just like clam chowder. Definitely not what I was expecting or would want from a can of beef stew. And then I moved on to the Food Lion beef stew, and I tasted the meat first, and it definitely had a better texture and a better meatier taste than the Dinty Moore. The vegetables, on the other hand, were very mushy and flavorless. Dinty Moore's vegetables were definitely better. And then I tasted a bite with everything together, and this all came together nicely and tasted like beef stew compared to clam chowder. but that in no way means I liked either one. This was just definitely the better of the two. And then I moved on to the Southgate beef stew, and to be honest with you, I didn't want to try it, but I do this for you guys. And like the other two, I tried the meat first, and I gotta say, the meat was very sparse, and that's actually a good thing in this case. And then a potato, and then a carrot, and then a bite with everything, just like the other two, and everything in this can tasted just like the can, metal. This one was definitely bottom of the barrel and inedible. My final conclusion is to stay away from these highly processed canned beef stews. But if you must eat them, and you eat with your eyes, the Dinty Moore is the winner hands down, because it actually did look appetizing, and the vegetables had the best flavor and texture, but the meat was bland and spongy, and the overall bite tasted like clam chowder in my opinion. Even though the Food Lion beef stew didn't look as appetizing as the Dinty Moore, it tasted much better, and the meat had a better mouthfeel, but then the vegetables were mushy and bland. The Southgate beef stew, again, is bottom of the barrel food that tasted just like bottom of the barrel food. And to make matters worse, it was basically the same price as the other two. So please, save your money and your health and make beef stew at home. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you do not give these a try. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and come back every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday for new recipes and cooking videos.